An innocent romp in the woods turns into a hellish nightmare when an evil force is accidentally awakened. Action International Pictures presents the gruesome holiday shocker, Elves. They're not working for Santa anymore.
I had a rough day at work. Santa got murdered.
Their mission, to mate with a virgin, to mate with a virgin, to mate with a virgin, and conquer the world as a pint-sized master race.
I'm saving it for someone special.
Dan Haggerty stars as Mike McGavin, an ex-detective working on hard times.
First you're Santa, then you die.
Santa must expose this unholy force before the elves destroy Christmas.
Jesus Christ.
Elves. They're not working for Santa anymore.
1989's Elves is the worst movie I've ever seen. It's ugly, mean-spirited, and full of little green creatures. It reminds me of a Magic the Gathering deck. Wait, why does my voice sound like a deranged elderly man? Hold on a second, you fuck! How you doing, folks? Long time no see, doing one of these deck tech thingies. My name's John, and I'm here to talk about Elves. The following deck was submitted by my pal, Henry Evers. This is his broken deck, so don't blame me over how spiky it is. I do, however, have a history playing this tribe, specifically in EDH. My general choice was Azuri, Renegade Leader, who also makes an appearance in this deck. Henry's commander of choice is the Selesnya-colored Rhys the Redeemed. Rhys the Redeemed is a hybrid white-green 1/1 legendary elf warrior. His abilities are pay 2 hybrid green-white tap. Put a 1/1 green and white elf warrior creature token onto the battlefield. Also, 4 and 2 hybrid white-green mana tap. For each creature token you control, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Rhys has had a reputation for years of being one of the strongest token tribal commanders. However strong, this deck is definitely a fair deck and looks to win by overwhelming your opponents with your army of creatures. Now that we've met the boss, let's look at the rest of the support pieces that make this deck a very competitive yet fun playing experience. This deck is what I would call a ramp swarm strategy. It can win with either your overwhelming force of buffed up smaller creatures and tokens, and also ramp into some real scary top end threats. So let's take a look at all the creatures that help us ramp. You have your OG early 1-drops in Llanowar Elves, Fyndhorn Elves, Elvish Mystic, and Arbor Elf. The next set of rampers are a bit more spicy. Heritage Druid, which adds 3 GGG for tapping 3 elves. Priest of Titania, Elvish Archdruid, and Wirewood Channeler, who add X mana to your mana pool, equaling the number of elves on the battlefield, with the Archdruid also being a lord. Marwyn the Nurturer grows larger anytime another elf enters the battlefield under your control. She also can produce mana equal to her power. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, allows players to draw a card if it's the biggest and baddest thing around. She also adds green mana equal to the power of the largest creature you control. Elvish Spirit Guide, which is not an elf. She also is not as powerful in these colors as her simian brethren. Wirewood Symbiote, Seeker of Skybreak, and Argothian Elder, all untapped creatures or lands for some more ramping shenanigans. Next up are the creature lords that help build our army of seemingly harmless utility creatures and change them into a formidable army of woodland dwellers. In addition to the aforementioned Archdruid, we have Elvish Champion, who also grants Forest Walk, Imperious Perfect, which also generates her own troops, and Azuri, Renegade Leader. He not only regenerates our army, but also provides an overrun style win condition. Thunderfoot Baloth, while being a 5/5 with trample for 6 mana, also grants the entire team +2/+2 and trample, as long as Rhys is on the battlefield. Some artifact and enchantment removal with Reclamation Sage and Nul Mage Shepherd. Some recursion with Eternal Witness and Grave Sifter. Some much needed card draw in the new Beast Whisperer and Regal Force. We also have creature tutors on a stick with Elvish Harbinger and my personal favorite, Skyshroud Poacher. Prowling Serpapord, albeit not entirely on flavor, does provide some nice anti-counter magic tech. Now for some real meanies. These are the top-end baddies that you're hoping all that ramping will net you. Vorinclex Voice of Hunger is a great way to win the game and lose all of your friends. Hoof, there it is, basically should be called Hoof, Now I Win. Good Kozilek and the Ulamog twins are here because sometimes the game just needs to end. 10 total non-permanent tutors here in crop rotation to rock that Cradle of Love. More on this later. Summoner's Pact. Remember your trigger. Worldly Tutor. Sylvan Tutor. Green Sun's Zenith. Eldritch Evolution. Uncage the Menagerie. Natural Order. Chord of Calling. And Tooth and Nail. Some more card draw spells with Glimpse of Nature and Shamanic Revelation. The best removal in mono green, Beast Within, and Corrosion Grip. Super Regrowth, also known as Wildest Dreams. Creature generation spells Elvish Promenade, Genesis Wave, and the only spell that requires white mana, March of the Multitudes. Triumph of the Hordes and Overwhelming Stampede are your go-wide win cons. Looking at the rest of the permanents, we have 2 cards that stood out to me. The first being Concordant Crossroads, which essentially grants all the creatures at the table haste. And Instill Energy, that does the same effect, however just on the creature with the aura attached to it. This card also allows you to untap the creature once per turn. So I'm sure attaching it to a card like Priest of Titania would be a popular target to make boatloads of mana per turn to accelerate the win. Song of the Dryads is good old-fashioned removal by turning a creature into a forest. The deck also has some insanely powerful enchantments in Sylvan Library and Survival of the Fittest. Growing Rites of Itlmoc allows you to dig for a creature card, then will have no problem flipping into a second copy of Gaia's Cradle with all the creatures that are in this deck. 7 artifacts round out the remaining non-land permanents, starting with the 2 powerful mana rocks, Mox Amber and Grim Monolith. Some more untapping tech with 1,000-year-old Elixir, Staff of Domination, Umbral Mantle, and Sword of the Payruns. Finally, Illusionist Bracers to double some activated abilities. In a deck that's predominantly green, you know there will be plenty of cabbage to cast these spells. Starting with one of the most powerful lands ever designed, Gaia's Cradle. This card by itself makes up 1/3 of the deck's cost and could be substituted out for budgetary purposes. However, smoke 'em if you got 'em. More powerful mana ramp cards are included here with Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, and Ancient Tomb. Cavern of Souls for more mana fixing and anti-counter magic. Wirewood Lodge for even more untapping creatures. Strip Mine, Wasteland, and Ghost Quarter are included to wipe out any opposing non-basic land problems you might run into. Dryad Arbor for a free creature land that you could find early with Genesis Wave. And lastly, 25 of some of the most beautiful forests ever printed. With a few minor adjustments, this deck also converts nicely into a Canadian Highlander build, if that so tickles your fancy. I want to thank Henry Evers once again for sharing this powerful deck with us. You can tell a lot of time, money, and effort went into representing one of Magic's greatest tribes. So did you like this video? Would you like to see more like it? Comment down below and give me your feedback. Until next time, Planeswalkers, I'll see you all in the multiverse. This video was brought to you by Cardsphere.com, the best place to buy, sell, and trade your paper Magic the Gathering cards on.